Welcome back to Precalc, everyone. Today we're going to work on lesson 3 for day 2. We are going to be solving logarithmic equations algebraically. So two different methods to solve these equations are using the same base technique, like what you did yesterday. And perhaps you heard this term last year, the circle of life technique, or to exponentiate both sides. We're going to take a look at those. So let's take a look at this first example we have right here. What we want to do is use our logarithmic properties to condense the right-hand side of the equation, and that'll end up giving us the natural log of x minus 1 over x plus 1. And that's equal to the natural log of x plus 5 over here. Now, since I have the natural log of the left-hand side equals the natural log of the right-hand side, I can get rid of those natural logs and be left with x plus 5 is equal to x minus 1 over x plus 1. I can rewrite this with a denominator of 1 and cross multiply to solve. When I cross multiply, I end up with x minus 1 equals x plus 5 times x plus 1. And so this is going to stay as x minus 1, but on the right-hand side over here, I end up having to distribute. And when I distribute, I'm going to get x squared plus 6x plus 5. And now I want to move everything over to one side. And when I move everything over to one side, I end up with x squared plus 5x plus 6. And I could put the 0 on the left or the right-hand side. It doesn't matter. And then I want to factor, which gives me x plus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0. And I know that that ends up giving me x equals negative 3 and x equals negative 2. And now I think I'm all done and everything's great, but if I took negative 3 and plugged it into, say, any one of these parentheses in here, if I plugged it in for x, I'd end up getting the natural log, say, of negative 3 plus 2 is negative 2. And I know that I can't raise a number or a base of e to a power to get negative 2. That will never happen. So this is an extraneous solution. And that's the same case for this negative 2 right here. So all that work for no solution. It's the empty set. Sorry. Not that. No solution. Great. Moving on to number 2. We're going to use our logarithmic properties. But before we do that, I want to subtract 3 from both sides to get 4 natural log of x equals negative 8. And now I am going to divide by 4 on both sides to get the natural log of x equals negative 2. And then I'm going to exponentiate. I know the base on this natural log right here is e. So I'm going to write this as e to the negative 2 power is equal to x. So like I said, maybe you've heard of it last year as the circle of life. I remember a student saying something like swing the monkey, exponentiate it, whatever you guys want to call it. And then when you put that in your calculator, you are going to get a number that is approximately 0.135. And that is our solution for problem number 2. And so now here's our last problem right here, problem number 3. I definitely want to do something with these two terms because they have the same base, log base 2. And because there's a plus sign in front of there, I would like to multiply x times x minus 7. And then what I'm going to do is exponentiate once again, or circle of life. 2 to the 3rd power is equal to all this stuff right here, is equal to x times x minus 7. And then I'm going to need to distribute to get, well, 2 to the 3rd power first is 8 equals x squared minus 7x. And you know what the next step is. Let's move that 8 over to get x squared minus 7x minus 8. And then let me factor that, and I'll get 0 equals x minus 8, x plus 1. And this will give me x equals 8 and x equals negative 1. Remember, we want to check our answers. 8 works, but negative 1 does not work, because if I took negative 1 and plugged it in here, I get log base 2 of negative 8, and that will never happen. So our solution is x equals 8 for this. Thanks for coming out. Bye.